Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of DreTalksHoops. I'm your host, Andrea. This is episode 4, and today we're talking about the Sweet 16. It's set as of Monday night. We know who the Sweet 16 is going to be, and it's going to be UCLA versus Ole Miss, and LSU versus NC State in Spokane Region 1. In Spokane Region 2, we have Southern Cal versus Kansas State, and Oklahoma versus UConn. And in the Birmingham region, we have South Carolina versus Maryland, Duke versus UNC. In the other Birmingham region, we have TCU versus Notre Dame, and Texas versus Tennessee. I mean, can't complain. These are going to be some pretty good matchups. I know everyone probably has circled the Duke versus UNC matchup, which will be on Friday. It'll be the first time they'll ever meet in the NCAA tournament, which is pretty kind of interesting. All the history they have, the programs have between each other, and this is the first time they'll be meeting in the NCAA tournament. And it'll also be the third matchup this season, so they both split, and they both won at home. So this will be an interesting matchup. I know UNC wasn't fully at their full strength when they came to Cameron, but I mean, still a win's a win. And I know Duke has gotten better. I know UNC's gotten better, so it should be an interesting matchup, and winner goes to the Elite Eight. So I know I'm definitely looking forward to that matchup to see TCU versus Notre Dame. That's going to be another interesting matchup because TCU beat Notre Dame earlier this season in the Bahamas. So I know Notre Dame's looking for their revenge and trying to get the get back on them. Texas versus Tennessee. We also have Oklahoma versus UConn. That'd be a pretty good matchup, and Southern Cal versus Kansas State. And as we all kind of know the news now, Juju Watkins has torn her ACL and will be out for the rest of the tournament and will have surgery. It's like, devastating news. Everybody loves seeing Juju play her game. So I know even the Southern Cal, that community, we're all rooting for Juju to come back even stronger than ever. So the tournament won't be the same without her. So I know we're all going to miss her. So, prayers up, Juju. Hope you get better. And can't wait to see you back out on the court. UCLA versus Ole Miss. I think that would be an interesting matchup as well, too. And LSU versus NC State. I think really it's going to come down to the end going to be NC State's guards or LSU's guards, or LSU, in the post. They got, of course, Anissa Morrow and Samaya. So I think it's all going to come down to who's I feel like the guard play is going to be a big matchup in this game, especially with Flau'jae and Michaela versus, Isaiah James and Sanaya Rivers. So I'm interested to see this matchup as well. I think NC State will be able to get past LSU, but you never know, really. It's March Madness, so who knows? And speaking of March Madness, the 4 seeds, I thought my hot take last time was maybe all top 16 teams would make it, but the 5 seeds had something to say about that. So 3 5 seeds all beat 4 seeds on their home court, which is a pretty impressive because of course we all know the Alabama versus Maryland game, they win the double overtime. If Alabama would have beat Maryland, all 4 or 5 seeds would advance for the first time in the NCAA tournament. And man, what a game from the Alabama Maryland game, Maryland was up by 10 early in the first half, then Alabama kept fighting, and Alabama had the lead at the half. And then Alabama even got they came out on their run in the third quarter. And Maryland got down by as many as 17, but they didn't stop, of course, and then also having that home court behind you always makes a difference. So they ended up calling it back and forcing it to OT, even behind Alabama. As an Alabama player, man, she went off. She had 45, I believe, so yeah, 45 points. Yep, Sarah Ashley Barker had 45 points. It was amazing, career high. And she even hit the go-ahead 3 to go up towards the end of the fourth quarter, in the final second, she hit 3 to go up 3. But Maryland Sarah Tibasu, she went on and hit a go-ahead 3 to end up tying it with about 3-4 seconds left to send it into overtime. It was a crazy game, back and forth. I mean, what else could you expect for a March Madness? I mean, I was tuned in the whole game. It was such a great game. I mean, I didn't want either one of them, either one of the teams to lose, but man, what a great game. I mean, you feel for Alabama, but I mean, Maryland, they came out on top, and Maryland will take on South Carolina on Friday, and they were led by Cheyenne Sellers. She had 28 points. So yeah, Maryland, I like their guard play, I like their post play, so we'll see what they can do against South Carolina. But for the other 5 seeds, Kansas State, they went over to Kentucky and ended up beating them in overtime. I mean, pretty impressive. I thought Kentucky might be able to pull it out. They were at home, and they had Georgia Amore, one of the best point guards in the country. But K-State, they stayed in it, and they ended up beating them. And you can tell how much they missed Ayoka Lee, K-State's leading scorer. She's kind of like the heartbeat of that team. And she was out with foot injuries, one in January, and then our other foot got injured in February. So she was basically been out for the most part for this year, and then she missed the SEC tournament, the Big 12 tournament, and the NCAA tournament is like the first time she's been playing in a couple months. So for her to come back out and be able to guide her team to the Sweet 16, Kansas State, when I saw them play Duke earlier, I think back in November in Vegas, I mean they were looking good too back then as well. Because Duke got the win, but I was like, Kansas State, be on the lookout. They're on the come up, and with Ayoka Lee, they're back in the Sweet 16. So I'm excited to see what they do as well. And they'll be playing. Southern Cal. So that'll be interesting, kind of see what Southern Cal will do now. The win of Troy, now that Juju's out, but I mean. Kiki Irfan, she didn't have no problem. She had a career high, had 30-plus points against Mississippi State on Monday. So, I mean, it's a next one up mentality for Southern Cal. I know they want to play for Juju, and they're going to try to take this thing as far as it can go. I still think they'll be able to get past Kansas State, but if everything kind of goes with the bracket, they'll be facing UConn in the Elite Eight, and then I don't know if they'll be able to beat UConn. I know Southern Cal beat UConn at UConn earlier in the year, but UConn, I think, was missing Ozzie Fudd. And then she just announced that she's coming back for another year of college, which is big news for the Huskies. So I know they're going to be loving having her back, and basically, hopefully, she'll be injury-free this year and can really kind of showcase her talents. I mean, I think she could have went to the WNBA this year and declared, and probably would still been a good high draft prospect, but I mean, I know she wants to come back and just work on her game and show what she can do, and like I said, probably have like a season where she's not like injured and who can basically play the whole season. So big news for UConn. They're getting Ozzie Fudd back next year. And UConn, they'll play Oklahoma. Oklahoma has Reagan Beers, and Oklahoma, they had like a big time game. Big time win against Iowa. Iowa's on the up and up. They're still kind of trying to find their identity after, Caitlin Clark, left to the WNBA, and then the head coach had retired, Lisa Bluter, and now Jan Jensen has taken over. But, they'll be back on the come up. I know they're still rebuilding, but they'll be back. And Iowa, they had a great season, didn't even make it to the round of 32, and then they hung in there as much as they could, but too much Oklahoma. So we'll see Oklahoma and UConn face off. And another 5 seed that ended up being another 4 seed on the road was Tennessee. Went to Ohio State and beat Ohio State, which I thought Ohio State might have kept it more close since they were at home. I know they're a pretty good team at home. And Tennessee, they were kind of been up and down towards the end of the season. So I thought maybe Ohio State would have pulled it out, but Tennessee sure did prove me wrong. They came out swinging and came out pretty comfortably and beat Ohio State, which I was surprised because Ohio State, this is their second straight year hosting where they didn't even get to make it out of the round of 32 or made it out of the first weekend while they're hosting, because last year they got upset by Duke at home, and then this year they ended up losing to Tennessee at home. So I mean, that's tough right there. I know Cody McKinnon, she's a dog out there for Ohio State, and I think Jillian Cambridge, one of their freshmen, might have got injured during the game, but I mean, I thought they had like enough weapons to at least make it to the second weekend. So, but credit to Tennessee, they came out, they came ready, and they were ready to punch their ticket to Sweet 16. They weren't backing down. And then Ole Miss also a 5 seed, and Coach Show, she's got them girls out there balling, and she thought they even had a case to be even like the host, but she showed why they should have been able to host, and they went on the road down in Waco and beat Baylor, and pretty impressive win. I thought they might be able to host too as well, but I wouldn't have been mad if they were at the 5 seed, but I know they were trying to prove that they should have been like a host team as well too. So all these 5 seeds beat the 4 seeds at home, which I thought maybe all top 16 teams would have made it out, but the 5 seeds, like, you can tell how close the parity is between the 5 and 4. How seeing that 5 seed advance to see how much. I mean, not really much of a parity that there is, and even with the Bama Maryland game, that could have gone either way too. So just kind of seeing how close the 5-4 matchups are was pretty interesting to see this weekend. And then also Duke was able to host the first and second round tournaments. I was down in Durham this past weekend, and I had a great time. Duke beat Lehigh on Friday night, and it was a great crowd too that came out as well. It was like the biggest crowd I've seen, cause I'm a season ticket holder for Duke, so it's been the biggest crowd I've really seen come out and support the women, and to send off their last final home games. It was great to see everybody coming out and support, and hopefully there'll be more people coming out next season to come and support. Cause man, it was loud in there. It got really loud. And speaking of the first round, I also got to see Oregon and the Vanderbilt play. And the freshman phenom, Michaela Blakes, man, she's the real deal. She had 26 points against Oregon. I really liked her game. I like her speed. I like how she gets downhill. She's really nice. Camille Pierre, she's another great, not role player, but a great star for Vanderbilt. She had 17. She was pretty good too as well. It was a back and forth game. And then Oregon got up by, as many as 19 on them, but Vanderbilt, they kept clawing back, and were able to send it into overtime. And Michaela Blake, she ended up fouling out overtime. Peyton Scott from Oregon ended up taking the charge to foul her out within maybe last minute or so overtime. Jordan Oliver off Vanderbilt, she was a former Dookie, a Duke alum. She was on the 22-23 season. Yeah, 22-23 season. She was a big catalyst for their defense. And when they were able to host a couple years ago, she was big for them. So it was kind of great to see her back on Duke's campus as well too. And then we all know, Deja Kelly, former Tar Heel, she's being back in the triangle. And I guess it's kind of crazy how she went away to the West Coast and still ended up coming back, to North Carolina. It's crazy how life works. But yeah, she was playing. She played really well the first round game, and then they end up playing Duke on Sunday for the second round to go to the Sweet 16. And she played really well. She had 20 points, and Duke they were missing their leading scorer, Toby Fournier, out with an illness. I mean, she played Friday. She looked good. I mean, she didn't play Sunday, so I mean, hopefully she's feeling better. Hopefully everything's good, and we'll be able to see her in the Sweet 16 matchup. I know Duke's gonna need her size and length to deal with Utsby and Maria Gottdang. So hopefully she'll be back out there on Friday, and we'll be able to see her. But yeah, because you can tell Duke missed her with Philly Key, missed her in the paint. It was hard to contain her in the first half. And Duke was down by as many as 9 points in that game, and you can kind of tell they were missing her post presence there, Toby's post presence. But I mean, Delaney Thomas, she did an awesome job, and Jordan Wood to come in in the post and kind of be able to handle Philly Key. I know she had 13 rebounds, but I feel like they were able to contain her and not really let her kind of do what she really wanted to do. And more so in the second half, they were able to they flipped the switch. They were able to kind of more like contain her, so get her kind of in foul trouble, kind of like get her out, kind of really make her like a non-factor more towards the game. She has 14 points, 13 boards against Duke, but Philly Key did. But they were able to come in. And Deja Kelly, she returned and she had 20 points. And they were having like a hard trouble trying to stop Deja in the first half. But that pick and roll, you just basically just shooting like elbow jumpers, see like anything she kind of really wanted. But they were more the hedge so in the second half and kind of contain her more so. And then Ashlyn Jackson, what can you say? Like, no points in the first half. Her shot was off a little bit, air ball off to the side. But I mean, that didn't like rile her. She still kept shooting. I just knew she was gonna break out in the second act. I could tell she was like just frustrated mad herself that like her shot wasn't falling. And lo and behold, when she came out the half, she came out the gate swinging like 14 points in the third quarter, ended with 20 points, had 5 3-pointers. I mean, what else could you ask from your veteran leader? And Reagan Richardson was holding it down, in the first half for Duke. And Delaney Thomas, T-Mare, she had a crucial 3-pointer in the first half as well. Jordan Wood, she played well. Vanessa De Jesus played well. Lucy, she had some great defense on Deja Kelly. I mean, she wouldn't have like a big outburst with points, but I mean, Lucy's defense is always going to show up. So I think she did a great job on Deja in that second half. And then Ashley, man, she came out, she was ready to play, and just she could see, seeing her eyes. Once that first 3 went in, I knew it was over. I was like, yeah, it's going down. Oregon didn't stand a chance with Ashley. Once she gets hot, she gets hot. So I'm really happy that Ashley was able to find her shot in that second half. And Duke was able to come back. They were down, I think, 5 at the half, and they were able to erase that halftime deficit quick in a hurry. I think at one point Oregon has only scored 1 point within the first 5-6 minutes of the third quarter. So it's crazy what that Duke defense can do, and just as long as that defense is just gonna keep them in games, and that's what the good thing is. Even if the shots might not be falling like they want to, that defense will keep them in the games, and that defense will turn the offense. So I'm really happy to see keep Duke advancing, and of course they'll play North Carolina, because North Carolina ended up beating West Virginia by 11 points behind Alyssa Usby's 21 points. I thought West Virginia never really get in a rhythm how they wanted to. I think just foul trouble, just things not really going their way. I mean, they kept it close in the first half, but kind of after it just too much North Carolina. Because West Virginia went on a run to kind of keep it close, and then North Carolina went on their own run, and then Lexi Donarski, she finally got her 3-pointers to fall, and then too much Alyssa Usby. So UNC and Duke will play for the first time in the NCAA tournament. That'll be really interesting to see. I'm interested to see that matchup. So the Tobacco Road rivalry goes down to Birmingham. So y'all always be on the lookout for that one. Another round of 32 matchup, LSU and Florida State. I thought this would have been closer. I mean, the first half, LSU was only up by 1 point going to the halftime. So I thought Florida State would at least kept it kind of more competitive close, but that third quarter, they only scored 6 points, and LSU was ended up blowing it wide open on them. And Tanaya Latson, the NCAA leading scorer, she had 30 points for Florida State, and she'll end her season there. She's only a junior, she'll be back. But man, I thought Florida State might be able to keep it close. I thought LSU would end up winning the game, but I thought it would have been a little bit closer. But after halftime, just the tale of two tapes, or tale of two halves rather. And another upset from this weekend, South Dakota State ended up beating Oklahoma State in the first round. But I mean, I don't think it was really too much of a surprise to many people. South Dakota State, they're a really good mid-major school. And I even thought that it could be Oklahoma State as well too. I mean, they have the veterans, the players to do it, and they end up beating them. And then they end up losing to UConn on Monday. But man, what a great season for South Dakota State. And they ended up losing to UConn behind Pages. She dropped 34 points in the win her last game in Stores. So she had to go out with a bang. And then Notre Dame, they've been pretty good too as well. They'll be meeting TCU, and they were able to beat Michigan in the round of 32. They're pretty handily, actually, 21 points on their home court. They were able to beat Michigan behind Leatu King's 18 points and 15 boards. And then we all know TCU and Louisville played in the round of 32 as well. Haley Van Lith was playing her former team. Jaya Curry from the Louisville Cardinals, she dropped 41 points, but it wasn't enough. I think TCU ended up winning this game by 11 points. And I'm excited to see the matchup of the TCU and Notre Dame matchup. I know TCU has gotten better, Notre Dame has gotten better. But I think Notre Dame will end up getting their revenge and squeezing by TCU this time to go to the Elite Eight. And I think they'll be meeting their old foe in Texas, and they were able to beat Texas pretty easily, handily in the regular season. But I know, Texas has won some more games and gotten better. They've beaten South Carolina since then, and Notre Dame, they've gotten better too as well. I mean, of course, they beaten UConn, they beaten Southern Cal, but of course they had a little droppage off at the end of the regular season and with the ACC tournament. But I mean, Notre Dame still, they haven't skipped a beat, and they're out for a vengeance. So this TCU versus Notre Dame matchup is gonna be really great. But I don't want to look too far. I think Tennessee might have something to say about me saying Texas will beat them. But I think Tennessee, they have the depth. You never know what might happen. I know they're already SEC opponents, so of course they know each other fairly well. But I think Texas will still end up squeezing by Tennessee and getting the dub, so it'll be a Texas-Notre Dame matchup. And South Carolina versus Maryland, I have South Carolina over Maryland. I think it'll be too much South Carolina for Maryland, especially in the post play. I think Chloe Kitts, it'll be too much. And then the guard play, Tina Pow, and of course Bree Hall, Malaysia for a while. I think it'll be too much South Carolina for Maryland, and they'll end up passing, continuing on, moving on. And I think Duke will end up beating UNC. I know when they played the last time, UNC wasn't fully healthy, but I still believe that Duke could still beat them with a fully healthy UNC squad, because even when they played the first matchup in Chapel Hill, it was basically, scores tied 16-16. The game went into overtime, so no really team had more separation when they played it at Cameron Indoor. But they're mostly evenly match. I think Duke has gotten better since they've played. Of course, UNC has gotten better. So it'll be interesting. But I think Duke will have the win over them, and hopefully we'll see Toby Fournier in this matchup, and hopefully she's okay and everything's okay. So I think we'll see the Duke and South Carolina for that Elite Eight matchup. And South Carolina Duke did play earlier in the season, back in December. So Duke has gotten revenge on every team they played that they lost to. So I'm hoping to see a close battle out, gutted game, physical game if Duke and South Carolina play to go to the Final Four. But yeah, that's all want to give you an overview of what's happened this past weekend. The Sweet 16 matchups, what to look forward to. The Sweet 16 starts Friday. It'll be Friday and Saturday. Friday the 21st, Saturday the 22nd, and then the Elite Eight will be Sunday the 23rd and Monday the 24th. And then after that, we'll figure out who will be playing for the Final Four. And it's exciting. It just feels like these 3 weeks just go by of basketball, like the last season of basketball. But I'm excited to see the matchup, what's going to happen. I'm intrigued to see how Southern Cal's going to respond with the injury news of Juju being out. But of course I think they're going to play for her and want to win for her. So I know Kiki, she's gonna step up a bit like she did last game against Mississippi State. She had 30 plus points. I know Kiki's gonna step up. The whole team will step up in Juju's absence. And UCLA versus Ole Miss, that's gonna be a good game too as well. I think Ole Miss's defense, UCLA's offense, but I think it'll be too much Lauren Betts, Kiki Rice. I think UCLA will get the edge over Ole Miss. And LSU versus NC State, I love how LSU plays, but I think NC State might be too much. But NC State has been exposed with like their post play, and LSU they have a decent Mara down there. So I would I'm like intrigued to see how like I guess the post play as well matches up in this game, LSU versus NC State game. I know the guards are going to come up and play, but I'm like intrigued to see like the post playing. Like I think the post will be the X factor in this game. So you're playing exciting games to see. So next time we'll be talking about the Final Four matchups, and then we'll be in April, and that means at least about a month or so out until the WBA season starts, and then we get the WNBA draft as well in April. So exciting stuff still coming up. Just because college basketball might be coming to an end, it's still WBA is about to start up, and then there's a lot of things as well in the transfer portal that be on the lookout for too. Is transfer portal transfers are leaving, going trying to find new homes, so that's intriguing to watch as well to see where people might go. So yeah, so thanks for always just tuning in. I appreciate the support, and thank you for listening. And as always, what a better way else to in March or start spring with basketball, and can't wait to see these matchups, can't wait to see who comes out on top. So until next time, guys.